somebody who calls you a goddess?
Unampenda tu either way. What's your goddess? Okay. I'm sorry, our dear viewers. That was an unavoidable technical issue, but we'll fix it right now so we can get back. So ambao wamejoin saa hii tulikuwa tunaongelelea government and agriculture, and I'm your host also Zulfa, and I have a guest today. That guest, we had them today morning and we're going to have them today, but today saa hii.
Yeah.
Na tuko kwenye mandhari mazuri sana, sio kamera itazunguka kuangalia hayo mandhari ya leo, ambayo is a very beautiful place in Kitengela, a very beautiful place. Inaitwa
since morning. So yeah, there's that. Since morning I've been your guest, and I'm enjoying the time. Yeah, I'm enjoying the time I'm spending here, and I'm really quite fortunate for that. Yeah. I thank you, Zulfa. I thank your producer and the crew. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. So, unajua hapa tulipo Lewis, hapa tulipo. Obviously, what made this place open up? What made this place open up?
Okay, what made this place open is the food.
And where does food come from?
It comes from our sweet and gentle and loving farmers.
Yes.
Like those guys are like the backbone of this place.
Of this you know, agriculture is the backbone of fish and every civilization.
Indeed.
You can never, when you go back to the cradle of mankind, yeah? Obviously walikuwa na hunt and gatherers.
Yeah.
So when agriculture was introduced to us, then here it is, yeah? So what should I take it to go back to history and stuff? What you want to know? How does agriculture, how does the government affect agriculture, and how does agriculture affect the government? So how do they enable and affect each other?
Okay. So the government, I'm not quite a good criticizer of the government, but I'll say this. Agriculture and the government are, let's say, what can I call
two entities, two bodies.
Yeah, two bodies carved of the same wood.
Yes.
You see?
That need each other. I
Yeah.
many government and government in food. I'm gonna food, but I'm not government.
Yeah.
Need each other.
Very much. Like our president is a farmer.
Yes.
He has a doctor's degree in agriculture.
Okay.
He has a PhD in agriculture. His name is Dr. William Ruto because he did. William Ruto has
I know.
Dr. William Ruto because of agriculture. He is a farmer and all that. So he, as a farmer, knows the importance of agriculture,
of farming
in this country. And when agriculture is involved in government, as it is right now, the scarcity of food that we see in some of our countries, it's quite diminishes the government. Like why is there a scarcity of food in a country where the president is a farmer?
Yes.
Why?
So you understand. So
yeah.
In fact, do you know Ametoka from Kericho?
Is it Kericho?
Or where is it?
Nandi, yeah.
But they are farmers. Mahindi. You know, inatoka huko majani chai pia, some of it from there.
Yeah.
These are regions is the farmers mostly. Those regions, Kericho, Nandi, those countries, they are farmers.
Yeah.
And as a people,
yes,
you know, this morning we were discussing of how as youth we don't have employment.
Yeah.
As youth we don't know what to do. Okay. And I thought, what can we do? But the young people are joining the agriculture young people, because I remember some days back I went to a certain farm, and this man, he was a young man with a young family, just a young couple, because he was like 30 years old with a daughter of 1 year old, and he told me that he raises his family through through agriculture wamepanda mboga, wamepanda sukuma, wamepanda nini, nikamuuliza then what does it affect you? Anasema the only thing is ukipata fertilizer ni expensive, unaona the government ilipromise kuhusu fertilizer. So let us get into that. The government talked about fertilizer. Yeah. Fertilizer ilifika.
Okay, there was this notion that Raila said the government the fertilizer were being sold for I don't know 2,000 was given free by I don't know the government of Uturuki. Who is Uturuki? What is Uturuki in Kiswahili? Yeah. So I was like, okay, if it was given free for us, why are we being sold? And we were promised free and affordable fertilizers for all farmers. Do you know there is somebody who farms, small scale farmers, and they're like, we cannot afford that. You know, we cannot afford that. They need like 10 bags. Do you know that is each bag is 2K? That is 20,000. Okay. And they are like, we cannot afford the 20,000. You know, so there is that part that agriculture right now is not being going the same way
as it should be held.
Yeah, it's not held as it should be held by the government.
As Kenyans we saw wakati mahindi ilikuwa expensive and farmers mahindi yao ilikuwa inanunuliwa expensive, kama ilikuwa inanunuliwa mahindi ilikuwa cheap. I don't know.
No, the mahindi even was being exported. It was being imported.
Yes.
Yeah, farmers ilikuwa inaharibika.
So we know if we try to not support our farms and our farmers and agricultural community, we are going to suffer as a community, as a Kenyan
as
people.
A country. Yeah.
So how can the government? Now the question is, how can the government help us, help farmers, help the agricultural backbone? How can the government do that for us?
Firstly, the government might start by making sure that everything that entails agriculture is provided for perfectly well. Firstly, the fertilizer is free. Secondly, there is water in almost every place.
Sababu bado nakumbuka kuna wakati Mwea Mwea walikuwa nasema leo Mwea ndo kuna rice, like rice when you want rice is from Mwea. Embu, Nyeri, Mwea. And they were saying that the irrigation maji ambayo walikuwa analeta ya irrigation yamekatwa. Now I know people that wanategemea. Unajua, first of all, let us go back there. Now you put yourself in the shoes of the farmer. You are a farmer of rice. Yes? And as a farmer of rice, you need water. Now hii water unajua kwa Mwea inatoka Masinga Dam. So now that water is the water that you're using to irrigate your farm, and then your maji inakatwa. Now remember that hii mchele unauza usomeshe, because as a farmer hata sisi consumers, unapata hii mchele ndo unauza usomeshe, hii ndo mchele unafanya nini, and then the water is cut by the government, and you don't know when next is going to be
returned.
That affects a farmer. Now, and that when anything affects the primary farmer, it affects the consumer too.
Indeed, that is why the people who depend on the handovers of the farmers, that is like unasikia kuna mali kuna peanwa hii chakula msaada, like the government at that time does not have, you know, like the Samburu people, they depend on hii chakula yenye tunapanda, hii chakula yenye tuna nini, and then when we do not have, we are like, it's like, what are they going to eat? They depend on us, and we depend on the water the government is cutting, the fertilizer the government is not providing. You see, so we are like, we need each other, each and every one of us, not just those. Even the fruits that make this juice, they all need water, they all need fertilizer, and they all need to be taken care of. You see, so it's very, very unkind of these people, of the government, to just neglect farmers, to just abandon them.
Okay, so let us go to the second point. This is how the government affects agriculture. Tumesema resources allocation. Okay, government decision can affect how resources are allocated to agriculture, which can impact costs, revenues, and production. Okay, Now, what does this mean? Now, this means that government ndo ina affect how these things are nini.